first played the Coliseum 30 years ago. And they were asking about the Coliseum. He was like, yeah, we played here 30 years ago. And, of course, that was before it was covered with aluminum foil. That was what he said. It's like, wow, so even Lars noticed that the Coliseum really didn't change anything really that much. Call, you're on Sports Talk.
Real fast, the guy that did the donut commercial, was the late Lou Jacoby, who was a fan of... he worked with Woody Allen a lot of times.
Oh, because it's funny, I was going to tell a story. One time I had to... get fitted for a tux for a wedding that was in Texas, so I had to go to a tailor in Manhattan. So I went right across the street. I was working on Fulton Street downtown at the time, and went to the tailor across the street. And the guy that who was the tailor was actually an actor. Do you remember Sam Breakstone from Breakstones? But where the dog used to bite his heel.
With that fancy, not fancy, the corn cob hat or whatever.
That was the guy. He was a tailor. He owned the tuxedo store across the way, and he also became Danny from Honda. They did like a Danny from Honda show or like a commercial as well in the early '90s. So yeah,
and the Island Garden is still thriving. I pass it twice a day.
I'm on their email list because they send me emails all the time.
Yeah, Cherry Valley and Hempstead Turnpike. I hate to say it, I'm so urbanized, by the Stop and Shop, but it's in the same location. I remember being sent out, going out there as a kid with the PAL or PBC, and it was
called what you know on Long Island is the PAL, because back in the city only had the PAL, Police Athletic League, but out here it was called the PBC,
right.
Police Boys Club.
Right.
And even in the 70s and 80s when they started having girls sports, it was still the PBC. Now it's the PAL, so... That was always the way to change. Oh, that's city. PAL is a city expression. We don't
Franklin
do that.
Square have a PAL gym? Is it Franklin Square somewhere near there?
The one that in fact, well, I shouldn't say no. The big one is on Denton Avenue, right by Eddie's Pizza, which would be the Hillside Avenue and Denton Avenue, and that they've had Golden Glove events there.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's heading north. It's heading south. Off of Hillside Avenue.
I was just thinking of Denton Avenue the other day, which is now called Michael Tully Park, but that was the first baseball field I ever played at that had dugouts.
Right.
I had never been in dugouts before, and it was the craziest thing just to be talking to my friends, and our voices would echo, and just the smells you would smell, and just being in dugouts, you really felt like a pro. It was really cool.
So I won't tell you those smells were the Saturday night.
Oh, I know, yeah. Those people sleeping it off.
You could have some good locker room talk.
Yeah, we had locker room banter. Yes.
Yeah, and then you also found out that
we were like Roger Ailes.
Yeah, well, goes up to heaven. Yeah, and they also found out they didn't put deep enough drains. So every time it rained, you would actually have well, whatever.
I still remember that something. The wet cement. How could cement be wet? It's but it was. It was a wet cement smell.
We did the best we could. What can I tell you? Well, I'll talk to you later.
You got to.
Bye.
All right.
I wanted to ask you guys a question, especially you, KJ, and I know you would know definitely too, Sean. I was watching Sports Center. Huh? What I said?
Yeah. Oh, all right. I was going to say that I was going to get it back from what I called the bread.
Oh, no.
Well, at least say his real name.
You don't even know what he said.
How would you like if he's like, hey Kevin, hey Tristan? It's like, what?
I'm sorry about that.
What's his name?
I said Chris.
No.
Everybody makes mistakes. Right? I was Brandon 30 minutes ago.
That's a callback. I'm like, did you hear with the T-shirt? He had a good joke before. I'm like, boy, everyone brought their A game today.
So, I'm sure you saw the reunion of the Celtics team on Kevin Garnett's show.
Area 21.
They on SportsCenter the whole day they was talking about Ray Allen not being there, but they're saying Ray Allen and Rondo's issue was off the court. They had a legit problem off the court. Do you guys know what the reason was? No. They said KG and Paul Pierce didn't like him obviously because of the basketball reasons.
Right.
But Rondo and Ray Allen, and that's why he didn't even say anything on the topic, had issues off the court.
Wow.
And it was serious to the point where nobody wanted to bring it up on TV.
Off the court is either women or money. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. So
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Exactly. I don't.
You didn't know? You don't know?
I'm sure it's Googleable, but I don't know.
Yeah, I tried to, and I just couldn't find it.
But I thought it was. Speaking of trolling, did you see some of the tweets that went out the other day after the Celtics got number one? Who was it that was it Garnett? One of the guys who was in the trade. It was like
Paul Pierce.
Yeah, it was Paul Pierce. That's who it was. Paul Pierce. He's like he had a lot of fun with that.
I liked it too.
Yeah. So it was like, all right, that's fun. That's funny. And The Nets pick next year. Who owns that?
No, they have it outright. The
have
Nets
it?
have 2 first-round picks this year, though.
Okay, but next year their pick is owned by.
But they'll buy a pick.
But it's owned by the Celtics.
Answer the question.
Yes.
They just really got over on you guys. now that you look at it, don't you feel like
I'm sure this is before your time,
You
but
got robbed?
on Popeye, there was a character named Wimpy, and Wimpy always would want to borrow to buy a hamburger, and he would say, "Can I pay you on? I'll gladly pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today." Yeah. That's what that deal was with the Celtics and the Knicks. Oh, we'll take your 2017, 2018, and then the Nets will go. Oh,
Okay,
who cares?
fine,
I'll be dead by then. I don't care.
But it's like, okay,
look at the shirt too.
during that trade, okay, we traded Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry, and I forgot another random person. And all you guys,
DJ White.
yeah, where's he at now? Anyways,
That sounds like a name for the Witness Protection Program. I'm DJ White.
or Jehovah's Witness. And all you guys wanted to give us was
That would be my rap name. Hey, DJ White, coming at you.
And all you guys wanted to
Are
give
you
us
guys
was Jerry.
popping fresh? All right, sorry. Watch me.
He's now playing for Auxilium Torino.
Sounds great.
In Spain? Is that Italy?
Either way, Mark's gonna go see him play.
I sat in row 3. The chili fries were a little cold.
Italy, Turin.
Yeah, there you go. They should be called the Shrouds. That's a whole Shroud Turin.
He went to Alabama.
Oh.
No, he's from actually born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
All
Went
right,
to
so
high
the
school
hometown kid.
and went to Indiana.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going from Alabama to the University of Indiana, I mean, now Indiana's not just a great place, but for basketball, that was the place to go.
You know who the head coach of Alabama basketball is?
No. Who do I?
Avery Johnson.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. There was a guy who got so much for his voice. I mean, he had the highest pitch voice. Still does, I'm sure.
Battle.
How you take him seriously?
You know, Gerald Wallace had the deepest voice ever.
Yeah, remember.
So imagine him and Gerald Wallace getting into a fight.
That was like when Spud Webb and Manute Bol were teammates and best friends. Spud Webb was 5'3", Manute Bol was 7'7". So it was like, what? You know,
He was 5'3".
Yeah, he was 5'3", but I mean, I think they listed him at like 5'5", 5'6", but he was 5'3", and he freely admits that.
Same thing about Isaiah Thomas. He'd be 5'9" when Tim's on, but he's not.
Well, that was
So you saw him in person.
Well, that was
How tall
Hakeem
is he?
Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon was
tall
listed
is
at
he
6'11". He was 6'8", 6'7" at best.
Yeah.
As opposed to Detlef Schrempf. Detlef Schrempf was listed as a swingman, guard. He was a 7-footer, but his whole game was being a guard forward, a swingman. So they listed him as 6'9", 6'8", but he was really over 7 feet.
And Garnett, they purposely listed at 6'11", I think,
They
too.
didn't want he didn't want to be a center. He did not want to be a center. He was like, no. I'm
I think he's
power
over
forward.
7 foot, though.
Yeah, Garnett is. Yeah, Garnett is. It's, the same way that Bill Russell was in the '60s. Bill Russell only played. He'd play a Wilt Chamberlain. He'd play a Willis Reed. Every so often. But all the other centers he was playing weren't that big. Kevin Garnett had to play big guys every night of. That's why he was beaten up in his whole career. He had to play big guys every night. Just pounded him and pounded him.
I wonder what would he be if he was in today's NBA. It'd be different.
It'd be different because he'd be playing from the outside shooting threes, right?
He did at the end of his career kind of have that mid-range game. And
That's
It's such a different game. So so do we believe in the Yankees?
no, baseball talk. Quickly, baseball talk. I put on FS1. Guess who's calling the game?
Who?
Kevin Burkhardt and
Oh, I just read this the other day. Who is he with?
Alex Rodriguez.
That's
That's
right.
a weird combination.
Alex Rodriguez is getting paid, but Kevin Burkhardt just got someone else is going to, I think, football, or he's going to do football with Jay Cutler, I think, as well.
I think Kevin Burkhardt eventually is going to take over Joe Buck.
Yeah, I think so too, which is amazing. We knew him when we started SNY.
But I don't get why he's a commentator.
Jay Cutler has no personality. I think he's just
Jay
going to look into
Cutler
the camera.
hates the press.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's
He's
like
going to say his name in the beginning of the show and look at the
Well,
camera.
Fox's alternate press always been.
Well, there's a story. What they do when they try out these guys is they take a couple of games from last season and they just put it in, and then you and the guy who you're going to be paired with have to call the game.
Yeah.
So they said that he was off the charts, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It's reactionary to Tony Romo is what it is. It's them trying to.
He better only be play-by-play because I do not want to hear him talking about how somebody
he's
doesn't have.
He's going to be color analyst. You don't get him to do color.
He's not the person.
In fact, that's very rarely do ex-players morph into play-by-play. Play-by-play generally you're guys who do it for a living and everything. Your color analysts. There are guys. Pat Summerall was a football player, but he was a kicker. He became play-by-play. There are certain guys who become play-by-play who've been around in the game for a long time. But beyond that, usually it's just the play-by-play.
But I'm saying I don't want to hear him like talk about how that person he shouldn't do that interception.
Right.
He doesn't act like he wants it enough. Like I don't want to hear that from him.
Well, he exactly. You know, he gave up on that play.
Jay, he gave up.
Exactly. Really, you know.
That's like having him and Jamarcus Russell have like their own.
You know, it would be great if Jamarcus Russell would be like just admitting everything he did wrong. It's like, see what? He did what I did. You know, it's like you know, some people give 110%. I gave 10. I gave the 10 of that 110%.
That was towards his meals.
It's weird to see like Jay Cutler become an analyst, but you expected like Brett Favre to be one probably when he finished, or maybe even Kobe Bryant be one when he was done.
But there's the difference between like Kobe Bryant and Brett Favre are superstars.
Yeah.
Right. So superstars generally don't have to go on TV. Don't have to. A-Rod was a superstar.
Yeah, that's what.
But A-Rod is such a unique. You can't even. He's going to be on Shark Tank now too. A-Rod. It's like you can't. He's dating J-Lo. You know, you can't even pin him down as to what the guy is. A force. I mean, he was a great player, but for whatever reason, he had to take steroids and whatever else, PEDs, all that kind of stuff. He was a great player, but the guy is just odd. He's good at what he does. Everyone seems to like him.
Appealing.
He's appealing. Yeah, he's a good-looking guy and all that. You know, it's like, and he was such a great player, but he chose to sort of step it down by, okay, A-Rod, you're the best player in baseball, and you play shortstop. Oh, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the Yankees and move positions.
Yeah. A-Rod's a better shortstop.
Of course he is. He's going to. But I mean, talk about prostrating yourself. You know, just like, you know what? No, forget it. I'm the best player in baseball, but you know what? Yeah, I'll go play third base. No, you won't. And then he couldn't play first base, which is so odd.
Yeah, that was weird. They tried that out.
I know why Mike Piazza couldn't play first base, because he was huge and his body type and was broken down and whatever else he might have taken in his career. But, you know.
With the rolling of the eyes. You can't see that on camera.
The off-air stories we would have with Mr. Adam Rubin about Mike Piazza's back knee was some of the greatest stuff you'd ever hear, because it's like the telltale sign of steroid users and just the back knee and just the craters and all that. But you know, A-Rod, he was the best player in baseball. And I was like, yeah, well, I'll go play third base. I'll go play third base for the Yankees.
It's like Ripken.
Ripken was old. They had to move Ripken over. And Ripken they did right by, because he said, look, I'm not switching mid-year. You'll switch me in spring training where I can have a whole, 6-8 weeks to practice, as opposed to making errors. Because he didn't want to be seen, same way as Jeter, same way as DiMaggio, didn't want to look bad on the grand stage. So as such, but A-Rod's like, yeah, but then he couldn't play first base, which just boggles my mind. Jay Bruce can play first base. You know, so guys can play first base.
And then he didn't play third base the last 2-3 years of his career.
And I think I've seen every Met play first base this season.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I love when they got TJ Rivera playing first base.
First base.
It's like, all right, your first baseman. Reggie Jackson always had a quote about left field, right field, third base, and first base. If you're standing on a corner, you better be carrying a big stick. That was his favorite, because it has to do with life and it has to do with baseball. And when you've got a second baseman essentially playing first base, that's not what you want. You don't want that. Yeah. My rule, in fact, on baseball was always you want 3 center fields in the outfield and you want 4 shortstops in the infield. You want great defense. You want your smartest guy catching, and your pitchers, just let him be whatever he does, because pitchers are breeds onto themselves. Yeah. But Ernie Banks, who we think of being one of the greatest shortstops of all time, played more games at first base than shortstop. Which is, when people say that, it's like because they were trying to make conversations this week about where Jeter fits among great shortstops, and people will talk about Ernie Banks and the like, and then they'll bring up Robin Yount, and they want to, Robin Yount played in obscurity, and it's a Hall of Famer, played in obscurity in Milwaukee, so no one's really going to bat for him in New York, but Robin Yount switched from shortstop to center field. He went from the second hardest position to the hardest position in his 30s, so it's like that's a whole different
thing.
What
about
right
catcher
there.
To second base to center field?
Craig Biggio, another guy went from catcher to second base. They've been talking about right up the middle. I mean, that's a tough move as well.
The one thing I say the most is if someone's going to play first base, and it's overlooked very much, they have to have an arm. They have to know how to throw the baseball.
Oh, Lucas Duda resembles that remark.
Yeah.
So. And I'm watching that play, and that was always the thing. Like, first basemen generally are failed third basemen who can't make the throw. Steve Garvey was one. Jim Thome was one, because he had gotten so big that his neck and his arms couldn't really move, so he couldn't throw the ball. It's like first basemen don't have arms. That's the whole reason they're playing first base. And now Lucas Duda in the World Series, and then this week it's like he just...
Well, last year too in the World Series when they were playing from the first baseman.
Can't do it. It's just... And it's so weird to think... It's the same way when you'll see a pitcher who can throw the ball 60 feet 6 inches and throw strikes. All of a sudden, the ball's hit back to him.